We're interviewing Grandmommy Anne Sanchez, December 27th, 2022. And I'm her son, Aaron. Anyway, so Mom,
Yes.
I just wanted to see if you could tell me
Okay.
about Aitachi. Aitachi's my grandfather and Mom's dad, Aitachi and Amachi. And like tell me how they grew up in Arnagi and what they decided to move over here in this country and everything they went through.
All right.
Anything you could think of, anything you can remember would be great.
All right. So Aitachi and Amachi is grandma and grandpa in Basque, and we grew up there. We're from the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain, and Amachi's family, right on the border of France and Spain, their last name was Kuruchet, which was a small. Arnagi is a small town, and the Kuruchet family had a little store, and it was such a small town, but their little store supplied people from the village with food and necessities. So the family, the main town near to Arnagi, supplied the food, and so they would have to drive to Saint John Pied de Port to pick up the supplies for the people in the village. Because Arnagi was so small and their store was so small, they would take orders and pick up the supplies from Saint John Pied de Port, which is in France, and the town that.
Do you know how far that was?
I'd say it was 30 miles, maybe 20 miles away. It wasn't too far, but it was a fortress village.
And they just
Saint John
drove there in a car?
The Kuruchet family also, they had the little store and they had a taxi service. And they had the first telephone, which was the number of the telephone of the Kuruchet family was number 1.
Okay.
That was their phone number.
Do you know what year was that? Probably like 1930s, maybe 1940s?
I don't know when the family moved there, but during World War II, of course, France was occupied by Germany. Yeah. And so they got out of the war right away. So Aitachi, he didn't fight in the war, and that was when was the occupation, 1940.
Yeah, you were born in like 1940.
Then I was born after the war was over. A lot of babies were born after the war was over. We're called the baby boomers because a lot of babies were born. I think Dad was part of the baby boomer generation. Uncle Matt, he's in 45 to, I'm not sure when the baby boomer generation. After the war was over, many babies were born, and so we were the baby boomer generation.
So, but the store that the Kuruchets owned, for what was Amachi's first name?
Matilda. Her name was Dominica Matilda, but she preferred Matilda.
Oh, first name was Dominica. Matilda. But was this before Amachi was born? When they owned this, when the store came out?
Oh yeah, the family had the store and the taxi service. Her dad started it. His name was Matthew Kuruchet.
Really?
Mathieu.
Okay.
My brother was Matthew, Mathieu. My cousin was Matthew Kuruchet. And my brother was my son is Matthew Sanchez.
Yes.
Matthew.
It's a family name.
Hew.
What was I going to ask about I was going to ask something about this. Oh, how many siblings did Amachi have? And what were she?
Amachi had 2 brothers. One was Fernand, and he was older. I think he was a couple years older. And a younger brother, Theodore. He was younger.
These all Basque names?
Theodore French, I think.
French, Theodore.
And Fernand is a French name.
And they all just spoke Basque to each other.
They spoke French in, yes, mostly French. My parents, when they moved to, my mother was able to speak French and Spanish and Basque. And when they moved to America, my dad's French was not great. So in our home, we spoke Basque. But
I thought you couldn't speak good
he
French.
was not as good at French.
But he's in
But
the
he could speak.
Pyrenees.
He could speak French and Basque and Spanish.
He spoke French back at home.
Yes, he was but in the house where he grew up in the hills. And his mother was a single mother because his dad died very young.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking about Aitachi now.
Aitachi grew up in a little town, in a little house about a mile from the little store where my mother lived.
Did Amachi live in the store or near?
No, I think the living quarters were upstairs. I think.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I was in the store. But I didn't look.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
and
so-
Aitachi lived. You would my grandmother, his mom, would come into town to get supplies at the Kuruchet store. She would have a donkey and she would come down and get her supplies.
Aitachi's mom,
Aitachi's mom.
who just had
The
Aitachi.
3 boys.
By himself.
She had 3 boys. Mike was one, Michelle, and I think
Michelle. Okay.
yeah, Mike. And then of course Pedro. My dad's name is Pedro Juan.
Okay.
Pierre Jean. And then I'm Jean. I think was the other one. Jean.
Jean was his younger.
Jean was.
So he was in the middle.
I'm not sure
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they were.
So and then
I think my dad might have been the youngest one.
so the Aitachi, whose name was Pedro Juan or Pierre Jean.
Pierre Jean.
He just had when did his dad die?
Very young.
Like
Yeah, so he had 3 brothers.
as
And
far as how old Aitachi was, like
yeah, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
how young he was. But
basically
those
she
3
raised,
boys, yeah, those 3
those three
boys
boys.
helped. Yeah, help make money for the mom. There was no
'Cause-
industry in Arnegi. There was nothing. So you farmed. And I don't know how she made money. She was very poor. And when we went to visit,
Oh,
so when we went to visit, Dad and I went to visit, and so we were in Spain, and we were looking up at the house where Aitachi grew up, where my dad grew up, and the house was off on the hillside, and you can see it. And now my cousin, Michel Etchemendy, and his wife Josette lived there.
in the house? that
Yeah,
Aitachi
they
grew up in?
fixed it. It's beautiful. If you're in
But it was,
Spain,
but it was tiny though. It's
no,
tiny.
now it's like it's a ranch, and they fixed up the house, and
But the
they
house was
farmed
tiny
there.
when Aitachi lived in it, right?
I think it was all, it was a pretty old house, beat up, but now Michelle Etchemendy has fixed it up, and sometimes
He's your cousin.
my cousin on
So-
my dad's side, Michelle
And
and
you're in
Josette.
You're sort of in contact
Yes, I just
with him? Wow.
emailed him because
That's
my
so cool.
neighbors here wanted to go and visit the Basque Country, and we had it all set up for my neighbors to go visit, and my neighbors got sick and couldn't go, but Michelle and Josette were ready to host them and visit and have them visit. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Hey, Malia.
Yeah,
Can you make sure this is recording?
yeah.
So we'll check and tell mom that the soup is super hot. It's recording. Okay. Do you know how Aitachi and Amachi met?
So of course, my mother's family is very well known in that town. You know, they're the main family, the number one telephone. Everybody would go there and use the telephone, and my mother would she was taxi service. So and then my dad lived around the corner, like living from where we are to closer than where Pilar lives, maybe as close as where Matt lives, maybe.
Okay.
And so, and my dad was the musician for the town.
Oh,
he played music. He was in the band. And
what did he play?
Accordion and trumpet.
Okay.
Trumpet for McKenna. McKenna plays the trumpet. So, so yeah, he was a musician. So they just got together, and so what happened is,
because they're both semi well known, like the Kudachets were well known, and Aitachi was well known too.
So and it was all, I think, kind of stifling for my dad because he wanted to make a living, but he couldn't because he was playing the accordion, and everybody, he was trying to raise a family, and they wanted him to go here and go there to play music, and he just couldn't do it. And we had friends.
Did he travel? How far did he travel?
Well, you know, like he would go on the weekend, maybe to a wedding, and do a wedding here and
within the town of Arnegi, or would he go outside?
No, I think he had a motorcycle, so he was going to different places. I don't know how far he went, but he couldn't make a living like that. So when our friend Isadora came from Montana to visit,
I remember her.
And she
grew up there too.
Well, she's from I don't know. I think maybe her husband was from the area. There's tiny little towns close by, and so he told her, Isadora, I would like to come to America. So she either sponsored him,
and he wanted to do that because he knew or thought that he'd be able to raise a family.
A lot of people came.
American dream.
Yes, a lot of people came from. There's no industry in the little town, and you had to come to America. A lot of young men were coming to America. Many became very successful dairymen, businessmen, sheep herders. Isadora's husband was a very successful sheep herder. He had a sheep ranch in Montana, Billings, Montana. So he told Isadora, I would like to come to America. And she said, Pedro, because he's so well known there, everybody knew him, and he's a musician, and she said, you're gonna leave this? Everybody knows you here. And he said, I need to come to America. And so he was sponsored, and he came. They sponsored him. I'm not sure how soon after he asked, but he came, and he stayed in, I think, Billings, or I'm not sure what town, for a year, herding sheep in the cold mountains of Montana.
For Isadora's husband.
I think it wasn't Isadora's husband.
But
it might have been. I'll ask Uncle Mike, it wasn't. It might have been. I wrote down what town it was, and I think
in Montana, though, basically.
Yeah, Mike told me it wasn't Billings; it was another town.
That's okay.
And he stayed for a year, and raised enough money, and do all the paperwork for us to come. I was 3, my brother was 6, and we came to Chino, California.
But wait, in Montana, when he was herding sheep, I remember you were telling me that he was like sometimes like in the snow by himself. Can you describe that as much as you know about that?
So he had one of those little sheep herder cabins, sheep herder trailers or whatever. Yeah. And so Isadora and a bunch of these people that knew him would come, and they'd come and just hang out with him, and on the weekends or something. There's pictures of them all hanging around, visiting his little campsite. So
was he how long was he by himself though up there?
He was here a year, I think.
No, but by himself up in herding the sheep.
Oh, the sheep are out there all year, or
But from my understanding, he was like sitting there by himself. Like people, someone would bring him food, and or is that?
Oh, I
true?
don't know how, I'm sure they had like somebody that bringing him food and shopping, and maybe on the weekends he could come down. Yeah, I don't think he had a car or
I don't know what
anything.
he was doing up there, sheep herd. Like he
It's,
just
I,
just watching the sheep, making sure they're
yeah,
eating.
you have to make sure that they go to where the food is, and
Yeah,
you know the dog gathers them together. I never asked him. You could probably look it up, but it
I
was
know. I just
it's a lonely life, and you'll see sometimes people herding sheep. That's what Aitachi did.
yeah,
He came here by himself, and
yeah.
and we stayed back there. My mother ran a little store.
Is
Yeah.
Isadora the one who sponsored him? Isadora and her
I
husband?
think
Do you remember?
so. I think so.
Okay.
If not, she got, you know, there's a Basque community. I'm not sure who's, Uncle Mike would know who exactly sponsored him. It might have been Isadora and her husband. And he might have worked for them. But he was there just a year and then sent for us, and we came to Chino.
Yeah.
And in Chino, he was a milker for a Dutch dairyman, Pete Lumen. He did,
And you were there too. That's when he brought you when you were.
yeah, we came. I was 3 when I came.
Okay.
And Uncle Matt was 6.
So after a year, he was gone from you guys for a year, and then he
Yes.
brought you over.
And then we all came over and met up in Chino, where he became a milker.
Because
And we all lived in, you know, he rented a house. We lived in a house together, and then.
did you ever have a chance to talk to Amachi about that and what you thought of her husband leaving for a year?
Oh gosh. No, I that had to be terrible.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
So
what her perspective-
we went, Dad and I went to visit Graciana, who was the wife of the youngest brother, Graciana. And she said it was terrible. Everybody hated it because it was my grandmother and the brothers, the family was all there, very tight. And then they knew that my mom and Aita were coming here. My dad and mom were coming here. It was just devastating to everybody there. My mother did not go back for 20 years. Didn't see her mother for 20 years because after they came, my dad was a milker. Then they bought a house, and then he would continue milking. But he gradually started building his own herd of cattle, his own herd of cows. So he was able to. He developed a herd of cows, and then so he owned his cows, and he rented a dairy. So he was
in Chino.
In Chino. So his next step was
Whoa.
to get a herd of cows, and then he rented a dairy. Then the next step was to own a dairy, and so to own a dairy, the dairy he could own, that he could afford, was in Barstow, California.
Yeah.
So he had to get those cows, and you have to milk them every day,
Oh.
morning and night.
Yeah.
So the way they did it, and this is pretty amazing, is he milked the cows in the morning because he had a milker in Chino. Milked them in the morning, got them on a truck, and he had a man milker waiting in Barstow for them to come on the truck.
Whoa.
And they transported them to Barstow, milked them in Barstow, and then the next load, same thing. I don't know how.
Because if you stop milking them, they won't produce milk.
Yeah, it's so for 20 years you can imagine why running that business, making sure everything went well.
No, he was working 7 days a week, every day,
Every
milking the
day and night. And then so they didn't go back for 20 years. And then when they finally sold the dairy, Uncle Mike helped them. Uncle Mike was like 15 or 16, and he ran the dairy so they could go return to France.
He was 15.
He was, I'm not sure. Maybe
Yeah, he was young though. Like
he
at
was
least
maybe
like not
he
older
was.
than Elijah. My son Elijah
He was very
19.
young. He ran it so they could go back and visit. I'll find out exactly
Wow,
how old he was. He was
crazy.
very young.
But yeah, that's crazy.
So and then because they were in the process of selling the dairy, he might have been maybe he was
Selling the
17.
dairy.
That's when my dad was selling. Then they decided they were selling the dairy.
Okay.
And they went back and things slowed down a little bit and Mike could help them. And so that's when they were able to go back. But it was 20 years later that my mom
But
finally
he never
went back.
sold it, did he?
Oh yeah, they sold uh, they stopped ranching and sold all the cows.
Oh, sold all the cows.
Because
But
they
he
had
kept
that
the property.
They kept the property. They had just built that house. And
Oh, yeah.
so they were able to. That was the American dream.
Do you remember that? Like, was I alive at that time when he sold the dairy? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember we used to go and play in the orange cart all the time. Remember?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was. I think he was
He
I don't
was
think
retired.
I don't think he had the whole. Yeah, I think I remember him when he was retired.
He had the little orchard there. He let some cows just in pasture there, and that's all. Yeah, I think he was retired since you were born. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he didn't have a dairy. He had retired when you were born. He didn't have a dairy.
Plus, with his arthritis,
it was hard.
Do you remember when you started feeling that, like when that arthritis started? Like, because
he couldn't. He was out
because he couldn't walk, right?
No,
like,
he was
sometimes
out
he's in a wheelchair.
He was never in a wheelchair, but he was sometimes out getting the cows with crutches. And then he went and had his.
But he was still running the dairy line.
Oh yeah, it was hard. He was out there on crutches, but he had one of the surgery had just been developed for, I think, the hip surgery. It was stainless steel replacement hips. I think first he had stainless steel, then he had a second surgery on both hips, and then he went and got Teflon or something. I'm not sure, but anyway. So he's
the second one. And then tell me about how you heard about how Amici died.
So I was at I had finished up at San Diego State, and I had taught and retired from teaching, and I had you, and we were living in El Cajon, and got a phone call from my dad that my mom had been taken to the hospital, and she had gone into Social Security to do something at Social Security office, and she passed out and died within an hour. They got her to the hospital, and it was an aortic aneurysm, and she just died. So that was 1977. You were born.
73.
Yeah, so.
And that was just
2.
Yeah.
So, so then he was by himself. We thought, what is he going to do now? He said, what am I going to do? I don't even know how to make soup. His whole life was just turned upside down. I don't even know how to make soup because he depended on her for everything. And but then of course, he learned how to make soup.
He used to make us. I remember we used to go visit him, and he'd make us the whole this really nice dinners and stuff. I mean,
so she did all the cooking, and so my family they're survivors, and so you pull yourself up. And if you depended on somebody, you're going to do it, and you're going to make it work. And he learned to.
Well, I mean,
cook, and he became
he was a musician, and then he became a sheep herder, and then a dairyman, and owned his own dairy from nothing. So.
American dream, Barstow, California, the American dream. So he, so then he so.
What's the address of the dairy? Do you remember on Community Boulevard, just so you can.
I think 26125 Community Boulevard. So I just got a call yesterday from Mike B. Dart, and he's a good friend of the family, and so Mike B. Dart knew my dad as the musician. When my dad first came over, he was playing music for picnics and weddings. He was trying to do business and also play. And so my dad said, I just can't do it anymore. And Mike B. Dart, who was this 12-year-old kid, was learning to play the accordion. He started playing music for the Basque people, Mike B. Dart.
And do you look up to Aitachi and stuff?
Oh yeah, they thought he was great. They thought Aitachi was wonderful. And so, Mike, what was I going to say? Let's see. I forget where I was headed with this, but so Mike called me. You know, the Chino Basque Club has my dad's accordion on
Yeah, I
display.
have a picture of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Mike Bedart told me. So what happened is, so my dad couldn't be playing music and playing for the Basque community because they kept asking him. So he sold his guitar, his accordion. He sold it, and so you know that if you go to Chino,
Why did he sell it? I mean,
so that
did,
just because he wasn't a musician anymore.
did he sell it as an excuse to not play, or did he just say,
I
"I have
don't
nothing,
know.
nothing to use it for"?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he just needed to move on. And
Wow.
so Mike Bedart, years later, Daddy and I had an 80th birthday party for my dad. Do you remember that? We had,
Yeah.
and we
I don't
got,
think I was there, but I remember.
so we had it at the Chino Hotel, Basque Hotel, Chino Basque Basco Hotel. Anyway, so Mike Bedart, he said, Anne, he said, I have something for your dad.
Oh.
And so he said, I found your dad's accordion. And he said, I want to present him with this accordion. And so because he was in the hotel, everybody gathers on Sundays and they have big dinners on Sundays at the hotel. Somebody was selling I can't remember saying what guitar. Somebody was selling an accordion. And Mike,
wait, where was this?
in the Chino Basque Hotel.
Okay.
Anyway, so he saw that. He said, I think that's Pedro's accordion. It's a very unique accordion. He said, I think that's Pedro's accordion. And sure enough, so he bought it. And then he presented it to my dad at his 80th birthday party. And he wrote a song. I've got the song here. The accordion was singing to my dad. And the accordion was saying, you know, Pedro, I know I really forgive you for selling me because I understand you had to raise a family. And the accordion said, I don't look good anymore. So, because I was missing teeth. But and Mike Bedart was singing it. So when you sing in Basque, it's like a I don't know what it's. That he would sing something and then there was a chorus and everybody knew to sing the chorus, like in church, you know, where you yeah. So anyway, needless to say, the accordion forgave my dad, and the accordion went home with my dad, and my dad had it fixed, and he was playing it, and that's a picture you see on the wall there. My dad playing the accordion, and Dad would play the guitar with him. They would mess around.
Was he super? I mean, was do you remember Aitachi's reaction when he saw the accordion?
He couldn't believe it. Can you imagine that Mike's a lawyer, so he does things big. So my dad also is a writer and a poet. And when they had the Chino picnics, they have an annual picnic. They would have my dad sing a little song. He would sing songs at the Basque picnic, whatever their little songs that he would write. He was a writer too.
Oh.
So anyway, so Mike respected my dad very much, and
that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's a good. Oh, one other thing, you could tell me like, because I remember one story I remember. You were telling me like how you used to live before Aitachi built the other house, the house that he had, but the house before. Remember you said there was like a hole in the floor and stuff like that.
Oh, this house was so old. This house was so old. So when we moved into this house I think was like 80 years old, and the floor was falling apart. But we had a man, his name was Michel Mutuberia, Basque man, and he would come. He fixed all the corrals because the dairy was old and beat up. He fixed all the corrals. And then he fixed the house a little bit, but I was so embarrassed with that house. So one time we were having dinner, and my dad's chair fell through the floor because the floor just rotted away. I was so embarrassed for anybody to see my house. And then when I went away to college, they built that nice brick house. Yeah. So after I went away to college, but So yeah, we
Did they
we
fix
did.
the hole?
Oh yeah, I think they put, so the floor was all wood, and I think they put a little metal slat there. I don't know if it was Michelle that fixed it, or somebody fixed it. So I think they put a
That's so
metal.
funny.
No, they didn't replace the floor. They didn't do anything to that house. Everything stayed old because I think my dad knew he was gonna build a new house, and he tore that house down. But I didn't know that. I was so embarrassed of that old house. I always felt, I would ask my brother, I said, "Are we poor?" He said, "No, we're not poor. It's just that when mom and dad get money, they buy a cow," and which is true. They buy a cow. So I had like 3 dresses. I had 3 dresses I wore, and I wore the same dresses over and over. And one of the girls at school said, "Anne, you always wear the same dress." And I thought, "What?" I said, "I do, don't I?" So I didn't think about it until someone said it. I thought, that's when I thought, well, I must be poor. And so I didn't think I was poor.
Just every time.
We were eating steak. We always were eating steak, so that's not poor. But I didn't think about that. So
you
yeah,
ate good, but just
we ate very well.
but
Milk and steaks. You know,
were
the
they
freezer.
your
was
old
always,
cows, the steaks?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they made do, and they worked hard. They worked very hard. Yeah.
And then Aitachi, and then after he sold everything, he was
fine. He was making a good living with them.
I mean, he was comfortable enough.
Yes, but my mother died right away. Right after they made it, they, you know, they finally made it, and then they were able to relax, and she died suddenly. Yeah, so he was just lost. He just was.
He was, but then he seemed okay because
Yeah, because he's a survivor, and he taught us to be survivors, and so we thought, you know, he's Basque, he's French Basque. What's he gonna do? Your life is the old country, and then he comes here and he makes a living. So is he American or is he Basque? You know, is he gonna go back? So there was a point where we realized, you know what, he's American. So he's very happy in that house, and he made a living, and he worked he would go to the Basque community. You know, he was always doing things, but he liked living in Barstow because he stayed away from the gossip and the problems with the Basque community. He liked being off by himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when he was in, one of the things about living in Arnegi was that the family was very close, and I think there was a lot of judgmental, you know, going on. And he came from that very poor house, poor family, and his mother was poor as the dickens, coming down the hill with the donkey with those 3 boys, and you know, just poor. And my cousin Matthew Kuduchet, when we were visiting, and we were looking up we were in Spain, looking up at the mountain where my dad used to live. Poor, raised by his mom on that poor farm. And Matthew Kuduchet, he looked up there, he said, "Look at that house. See, that what used to be poor house. Your grandma up there with, you know, by herself, poor." And he said, "Now," he said, "you look up there, everything's green, and the house, you know, it's a beautiful house." Now he said everybody would like to live in that house.
Wow, I'd like to go there and check it. I remember
you
Uncle Mike was telling me,
if
like,
you met Michelle and Josette, they were so gracious. They were going to welcome my friends, but my friends ended up getting sick. They were ready to welcome them and invite them.
Really?
Yeah, and they would have given you that drink that I made for you, that aperitif. They would have. That's where they had it, and I thought, I've got to buy some of that.
But that's your cousin. My
cousin Michelle Etchemendy.
Michelle, that's Aitachi's side. And then other Kuduchets that you're in touch with?
Kuduchet, yes. Remember when we had, who came to visit? Arnaud?
Yeah.
Arnaud, I think was.
Jean Bernard.
Was.
There's Jean Bernard first, and then Matthew, and Matthew was your cousin. And
yeah, so Jean Bernard was the related to my mom's brother, my mom's youngest brother, and Arnaud was related to my mom's older brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was Matthew, probably. No, Matthew was your age.
Matthew
So
was
Matthew's parents were.
my
Matthew was your cousin.
Theodore, my mom's brother Theodore, died very young, had a heart problem or something, and his wife Graciana took over and helped run the store and took over the business, and so her son was Matthew Kuduchet and Antoine. Did you meet Antoine? Antoine died very young.
I think so, like really young. I remember like a long time ago.
So I think Arno
remember
was, I think Matthew Kuduchet's son, and the other one.
Yes, Arnold was, because Matthew and Arnold came together. I remember them.
Yeah.
Together.
So then the other one was
Jean Bernard.
Jean Bernard was related to. Let me think now. Jean Bernard was related to. Oh gosh, now I'm mixed up. Jean Bernard. So I'm mixed up. Yeah, it's the other brother, I think. The other brother. Yeah.
Understood.
His last name, Jean Bernard, was also Kuduchet, right?
I don't remember that.
Jean Bernard. Okay. So I'll have to think about
Pretty
that.
cool. I should try to get in contact, because it'd be nice whenever I get a chance to go up there to have someone show me around, like, hey, this is
the one that would be best. And I don't know if what his health is like, but Michel is Kuduchet is the one that I'm most in contact with right now. So
see, he's your age, I guess.
He's the one in my dad's
generation.
old house. So
okay. Well, anyway, I think that's
so I'm trying to think. So there's Arno, and then there was John. Oh, so John Bernard was Kuduchet. I think Kuduchet, but John Bernard was related to. John Bernard was, anyway, he was one of the brothers' sons. But I'll show you, I've got a picture of the town.
I'm gonna stop. This was good. That was perfect. All right, that's it. That's Grandmommy, January, or December 27th, 2023. 2022.